How do you do? Welcome to a Bearded Opinions special.
It's the Endgame special.
It is. We've not done one of these since the seventh Star Wars film.
Since Star Wars.
Force Awakens.
Yeah. So we've decided, with it being the biggest Marvel film in history,
22 films, 11
film saga,
years.
11 years. The Infinity Saga is
and a couple of TV series
series is coming to an end.
I mean,
the film I read this morning, the film is actually
second in the
second highest rated, second highest grossing film of all time. It's done that in 11 days. It's beaten Titanic. Titanic managed to get over 200 billion in something like 40 something days.
Yeah.
This has done it in 11. The film
Avatar is the only one beating it.
Yeah. Endgame is a phenomenal achievement.
So before we get into it too much, what we're going to do is going to talk to you for a little bit. No spoilers.
Just general. You know, the film is fantastic.
And then we'll give you a spoiler warning, and you can piss off.
Yeah,
if
you
you've
can
not
leave
seen
if
it.
you've not seen it, or if you want the spoilers because you're not really bothered, then stay.
And just
stay
like
around.
listening to us, and I don't see why you would. But yeah, so we've both seen it in the past few days.
In the past couple of days.
Overall, I would give the film a 9.8 out of 10.
I would say about 9.9. I wouldn't say the full 10. I don't think you'll ever get a film full
I don't,
10.
because I think at the end of the day, another person might give this film a 10 out of 10, but it's a personal preference, and that's why you can't always add it. There are, almost across the board, it was a film that had action, it had adventure, it had the touchy.
There was the emotional stuff.
That's the word I was
There's the
looking
love.
for.
There's hatred. This film has got literally everything in it.
The only thing it's not got is Johnny Depp, and I'm disappointed. No, I'm not, because
I mean, you've got the fact that the film itself has a 3-hour runtime.
Yeah.
Now that in itself, for most people,
they go, shit, I need to buy one of them.
I mean,
Wii
that
things.
for most people is a bit of a put off for some people. I mean, I'm a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan. 3 hours, fuck off, mate. That's nothing.
I was going to say, don't
the extended editions
director cut extended editions
go on for like 3.5 to 3 hour 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't they nearly approaching 4 hours each?
Yeah. So, they're not Lord of the Rings epics, but this is. For me, the film was done really well because it's done in 3 acts.
Just going through before you touch on that. Have you realised something about the top 3 current grossing films of all time? How long was Titanic?
Several years, wasn't it?
3 hours.
Oh right, yeah. Oh no.
How long is Avengers Endgame? 3 hours.
3 hours.
How long's Avatar? About 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's why I can't sit through Avatar, because to me the problem with Avatar was there was, that middle bit, it just sort of went all over the shop, and I'm like, why do I care? You know what I mean?
So now what's confusing me is I did read that apparently the film had made its way to number 3 in the IMDb 200, the top 250 films.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to. I read that it's made it there, but it doesn't seem to have updated, so I don't think it has.
I have no idea.
But what they're saying is that it's made its way into the top. It's made its way to number 3, but it will never beat the top 2 because you can't beat the top 2. The Shawshank Redemption, number 1. That's held the number 1 spot for like the last 20 odd years.
Yeah,
the film is gold in terms of cinematography. That is basically where any drama needs to set its peg.
Honestly, the only thing that I think could literally improve that film would be, just hear me out, right? Take the film from when it was filmed, the actors at the same age, the same scriptwriter, same director, same everybody, and just give them a modern day camera.
Yeah.
And modern day audio equipment. That is the only fault, that they were limited by the technology of their time in terms of filming it. Other than that, do not change a damn thing.
No, and of course the second best film of the world, The Godfather.
Again, limited. Again, bring the whole.
But
lot
again,
to the
3 hour runtime.
Yeah.
The film is The Godfather. You're not going to beat The Godfather.
Again, like I say, again, bring it. Give them a modern camera and modern mics, and you gold.
Now, obviously, with the Endgame film, as I say, they've split it into 3 acts. Mm-hmm. The 3 acts, for me, are what make the film, although it's 3 hours, it doesn't seem like 3 hours.
It's 3 1-hour films, effectively.
It's very, for me, it's very flowy. It flowed so well for me that me and my partner were watching it, and then you come out and you look at you watch, and you're like, fuck, it has actually been 3 hours, and you're like, that's weird, because when you're watching it, you're so engripped into every single part of every act of the film that you just don't think about time.
I didn't realise the time until I went. There is a point in it where you go, okay, this is the end.
This is the end now, yeah.
And when I saw that, that's when I went, I need a piss.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know how it is. It's 10-15 minutes till the end. I ran out during the credits and had a piss.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So yeah, that I agree. For 2 hours and 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you're there going.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
just so...
I can't talk now. Shut the fuck up and piss off.
Stop talking, I'm watching. Like,
if anyone... I've heard on thing that various people have been to see it. Like, not on release day, but... And there've been people who've been on release day and they're just talking. It's like, I would turn round and either punch a motherfucker or...
But that's
just turn around and go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, right? There's people that went to watch it on release day or watched it really early on and they've gone back 2, 3, 4 times to watch it. But don't ruin that experience for someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like some people...
Someone else has paid for the first time to watch this film, and they want to be able to enjoy this film. You know, and I get watching the film several times. You know, I really do. But you've got to go back in there like you're watching it for the first time.
I mean, in the cinema, right? There is. I don't know if because you've got a copy, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the cinema, at the very first thing you see. I believe it's basically a montage of the previous films saying, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, the only way they could have made it any better would have been if they got Samuel L. Jackson to walk out, like, in a shield set and just went, shut it, motherfucker. You know, just, that's the only other way they could have done it. And I didn't think Disney would have done that.
No. Well, there's also the thing that at like the premiere, and the actors were all being asked questions about the film, and they was like, you know, what's the best way for someone who's seen Endgame to talk about Endgame? And every actor just shut their mouths, blank stared.
Yeah.
This is how you talk about Endgame because you've got to watch it.
You do. It's a solid film. I had a couple of issues which we'll go into when we hit the spoilers.
Yeah. Which is in about the next minute or two.
Yeah. If you've not seen it, go see it. Other than that, it's a solid film. It is 22 years. It's Disney and Marvel.
It does answer, I would say...
It's not 22 years, it's 22 films.
I would say it answers 99% of all questions that have potentially been raised in all 22 films.
Yeah.
Because it answers a hell of a lot. But then it also opens up a whole can of worms as well.
Oh, yes.
Which is, they had to. If they didn't, then that
I mean, this is the
that
end.
would be the end.
This is the end of Phase 3.
This is, for me, this is the end of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if we had another Avengers title.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil too much for the next minute, but what I'm saying is that I think now any more films that we see will be standalone hero films with appearances of other heroes.
So it would be, for argument's sake, we know there's a new Spider-Man film coming out. We know there's a new Guardians film coming out. Say Black Panther 2, and you would see Winter Soldier in it, or I'm trying to think of someone who's not really. You would have. So you'd have Black Panther 2, and it would have, for no reason whatsoever other than the plot of that film, Professor Hulk, or you might get fucking, just for argument, I'm trying to think, Hawkeye in it, just for argument's sake. Yeah, the the next Black Panther film, he's beaten, he's had all his tech taken, and he ends up on Hawkeye's family farm and goes, what do I do? And he says, well, I've fought fucking space aliens with a bow and arrow. Here's a fucking shortened stick, mate. Get your ass out there. Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
That's what I don't think we're going to see the big collective. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think we're going to see that.
So do you think if we'd see anything that is Avengers, it would be titled, say, The New Avengers or Avengers America? Because I'm going into the comics now. There are multiple there's Avengers Canada, America, and
we were in the next 20 seconds. I could tell you exactly which sort of Avengers I think we're going to see.
So I think that the character build, there was no real character building in this movie because it didn't need it.
It didn't need it. We've had 22. This is the 22nd. We've had 21 films to build up our love and knowledge of all of the characters involved in Endgame.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think character building was needed in that at all. All we needed was we saw a little bit of character development with a couple of characters. But I think that we'd had so much build up that it was at this point that we're like, we really need to see what the fuck is going to happen now. So I don't think we needed that building of character.
I think now I'm going to enter a soft spoiler territory, and then we're going to go, I'll say spoilers, and then we'll jump straight into hardcore spoilers because he's about to pop. So the only soft spoiler I will say is, if you guys remember Justice League, in the end, it was... So, soft spoiler, it was Superman and friends.
Yeah, Superman turned up
and
everyone else was
I know a lot of people were worried about it being Captain America and friends, Iron Man and friends, or Captain Marvel and friends. It ain't.
It ain't any of them.
It ain't it is the Avengers.
It is Marvel versus Thanos.
Yeah. Well, it is the Avengers universe versus Thanos, yeah. The only ones we're missing are the X-Men.
Basically, yeah. The only ones that didn't show up to the party were the X-Men and Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I still wanted to see a little cameo of Deadpool just turn up well late and just go, hey guys, like, I'm here, let's go, let's kill this dude. And they're like, yeah, that happened like a year ago, Deadpool.
Or he just turns up on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Just no one else there. But yeah, so now I think we're going to enter spoiler territory. So for those of you who don't want spoilers,
leave now.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to how long we've been going.
You've had about 12 minutes.
About 12 minutes of rambling. There will be no more stuff for you to listen to if you're not interested.
Yeah, this is now spoiler territory.
So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Right, go.
Iron Man dies.
Iron Man dies.
Iron Man dies. Right, for me, this is... I knew it was coming. Downey Jr.'s contract was up.
He'd not renewed it.
He'd not renewed it.
I think there were hopes all the way through up until release day.
Yeah.
Because do you want to know what I almost think? Until they have to submit it to the ratings board, which I think happens like a month before the premiere.
Yeah.
I think that they honestly might have had a second ending where he lives.
Well,
in case Robert said,
yeah,
fuck it.
What was funny was Mark Ruffalo was given 5 or 6 fake scripts because obviously him and Tom Holland both have a habit of spoiling films.
Because Tom Holland was only given his scenes.
Yeah. And Mark Ruffalo obviously spoiled the Infinity War. You know, wait until you see this next one. Everybody dies. Like, cheers, Mark. Thank you very much. So they gave him 5 or 6 scripts, and he said that one of the scripts had an ending in it, and he then was asked in the interview, was like, "Oh, was it good?" He was like, "It's better than the film's ending." So
now
what happened in that ending?
You want Mark Ruffalo to do an interview, and say, "Right, we've all seen the film, Mark.
What happened in your fake script?" Because if it was better than this ending, how? The only way for me it could have been better in this ending would have been like Thanos wasn't killed, Tony wasn't killed,
Black Widow wasn't killed. No one died.
No one died, but they've still won, and like Thanos still lost his armies and his lieutenants, and he was left by himself. That's what I would have. That for me would have been a brilliant ending. But the ending we got,
like I say, I think personally there was a second ending film where Robert survived. Maybe everyone else did die.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey Jr. survived, so they could have had him in other roles in other films. But then I think probably the day before they went to the ratings board, they went, "Robert, are we using the death ending or the life ending?" And he went, go deaf. I'm going to bow out.
Yeah.
Because I think he's also a smart enough actor to go. He's been in more of. The only person who's been in more Avengers films than Robert Downey Jr. is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And I think he's smart enough to go, I've done a very good run.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go and not just end up as, oh, it's Tony.
Yeah.
Because he's still at this... It's like now, if you see Johnny Depp, you go, that's Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
You don't go, that's Johnny Depp. Robert Downey Jr. was about to become, it's Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But as if with him leaving now, you can still go, that's Robert Downey Jr. But yeah, all the deaths.
I mean, there was... Obviously, we only actually lose 2 Avengers.
Yeah, we do.
In the film, we lose Widow and Iron Man.
Because we lost Gamora in the last
Gamora was already gone, and technically she's not an Avenger, she's a Guardian.
Even though I think at that moment they were all fucking Avengers.
Well, yeah, that was the point. Everyone turns up and Cap finally manages to say the line, Avengers, assemble. Speaking of Captain America, of course, for me, the greatest scene in the film was that moment where Thanos is pushing the Stormbreaker into Thor's chest and Thor is about to get the same treatment Thanos got at the end of Infinity War, and then Mjolnir raises, twats Thanos in the back of the head, it comes back to whoever than Cap. We've known this was coming.
I had one other person who that could have been, and that was Valkyrie.
Yeah,
I think
I
she's
thought
the
Valkyrie
only other person who could have done
Yeah,
it.
they were the 2 people in my head. It was going to be Cap or Valkyrie.
In retrospect, I suppose if they'd have decided to bring Vision back,
Yeah.
don't know how, because the Soul Stone's currently being ran around by Spider-Man at that point.
Yeah.
But if Vision, because again we've seen him sort of
Yeah.
throw it around, and
So I mean that would have obviously been a potential. Talking of like little hints and clues that we've had from a lot of the films, Age of Ultron actually gave us the biggest clue that it was going to be Tony Stark that was going to die to save the universe. Scarlet Witch fucks with his head.
Yeah.
Makes him see his worst fears. What was Tony Stark's worst fears? Seeing all of his buddies, all of the Avengers lying dead on the battlefield, and Captain America grabbed him with his dying breath and said, "You could have saved us."
yeah. No,
We was told back in Age of Ultron, Tony Stark is going to die to save the... And not only that, what happens not long after that scene? What does Tony say? That up there? That's the Endgame.
No.
So, for me, we've known Tony Stark was going to be the ultimate sacrifice to save the universe from Thanos. That was told. We knew Captain America was going to be picking up Mjolnir. From the minute that Thor allowed all of the team to start fucking about with his hammer. Yeah, sure.
And regarding that scene, the only thing I think would have been even better is if, you know, the drunk Stan Lee they take out at the end.
Yeah, if he'd have picked it up.
If he'd have just, in his drunken state, walked up, grabbed it, slung it over his shoulder like it's a sack of old spuds, and just kept fucking wobbling out.
Yeah, because
and then Thor's just there like,
which would have confirmed the theory and the long running theory that he is the Watcher.
yeah.
Which we already know he's the Watcher now anyway, because they gave that away when he was talking to
the Watchers.
Yeah. And he was saying, this is where I've been, this is what I've been doing on Earth, this is what we're up to.
I loved his cameo.
Yeah.
Meant peace, not war.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I realised a symbolic thing. What does he do? So he drives up to that military base and the camera pans around, yeah? Make peace, not war. And then he drives off.
Yeah.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
He's not gonna do. There are cameos filmed, but the executives at Marvel and Disney and the Russo brothers have sat down and gone, we'll put Stan to bed.
Yeah.
Where he deserves. Because all these green screen ones he's filmed, I'm sure they could have done billions of things with.
I mean, it is a shame because... it's a shame that he's passed, really, because for me, I would have liked to have seen these cameos actually lead up to a Watcher movie and have Stan Lee, there's a problem, and he calls the Avengers.
Or even if he is there is a chance he could be the one above all others, who is the Marvel Universe's version of God, and they could have cast him in that role, but at the same time, I respect what they've done.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
been in all 22 films. Now we're starting what I would deem the new Avengers age. So we could argue. I agree with the previous statement you made. Homecoming is going to be a prequel, but I think when that's done, we can draw that line and go, he did those Avengers films. We're done. We've now started a new age.
Which was what I was saying a few minutes ago. The new age for me will be the young Avengers, because
quote unquote.
And the reason being is, I think what sealed it for me is the kid showing up from Iron Man 3 at Tony's funeral. Who,
by the way, is the kid who stood on his own with no one else there, in case people haven't worked it out and Googled it.
Yeah. And we already know that at the end of Iron Man 3, he's left him basically a workshop that is capable of building Iron Man.
Yep.
He also knows that kid is smart enough to do so. We also know Tony had 5 years of retirement that, as you were saying, it wouldn't be unlikely that he kept in contact with this kid, potentially even trained this kid and used him as a contingency.
Retired. Yeah. Or even when he knew, because I think he knew when he, we don't know what exactly Tony did between leaving his house and arriving at Avengers Complex.
Yeah.
There is every chance in that he first went to see the kid and went, we're going to try and stop this. If I fail, you need to take up that mantle.
Yeah. But it would lead it right for Young Avengers, because you would have Spider-Man potentially leading up the gang, which I believe would be the way it would go. Because for me, Spider-Man is going to be the one that's going to take the orders.
I think Spider-Man
from Fury.
So here's how I'm gonna put it. If you want to pin the original 6 Avengers to new characters, right?
Right.
So I'm putting Spider-Man as Iron Man.
Right.
Okay, I'm just relating them, so you got a 1-for-1. Falcon as Cap.
Yeah.
In terms of Thor, I've not really given it much thought, but let's go for argument's sake and say Black Panther. Just because. Okay?
Well, in terms of godlike, you could go with Panther or Scarlet Witch.
Right. Yeah.
If you was to go with the magic side.
Yeah, I'm just sort of trying to relate your 1-for-1. So with Thor, you go Black Panther. With Hulk, you then throw in Steven. Because I'm just finding ways to put these new characters in. With Scarlet Witch, you go Widow. And then there's a Hawkeye spot. At which point you could throw in Winter Soldier. You could throw in multiple other characters.
They have given us a big clue as to the fact that he does call his daughter Hawkeye at the very start of the film, and she is training.
She could
easily take up the young Hawkeye mantle.
I mean, we could end up with almost 2 sets of Avengers. So you end up with
basically the Justice League and Teen Titans. You'll end up with.
So you end up with Panther and Strange,
Hulk, Ant-Man, Wasp.
I think Hulk is going to take on a Nick Fury role.
Potentially.
I don't think he's going to be fighting, except for the only time I would imagine again seeing the Hulk fight would be in the next Endgame.
Yeah.
So we have Avengers, Retribution, where again we get everyone back together. So yeah, you've got those guys in the new Avengers, and then you've got this kid and Spider-Man, maybe the sister for Black Panther.
Yeah.
And those in the Young Avengers. So yeah, like you said, Justice League and Teen Titans. I could see that.
And then, I mean, we have also been given a big look at what an all-female Avengers would potentially look like. You would have Witch, Wasp, Captain Marvel, the 2 Wakandan women. I can never remember both their names.
No, I can't.
Who else was there on there?
There were Valkyrie.
And that would work as well, because other than Captain Marvel, the rest of them are... Because obviously Gamora and Nebula were there, but you forget about those 2 because they're Guardians anyway. But you would have the basis of an all-female Avengers right there, with Rescue, Pepper Potts. You know, they're all there, ready, and they're all on Earth. So it wouldn't be unheard of to have an all-female Avengers.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. We've just mentioned her.
What, Pepper?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
The elephant in the room. Okay, so in the lead up, there were multiple interviews given by multiple people at Disney who said that in this universe, in their cinematic universe, so what you got to remember is this isn't a direct rip from Earth Prime, from the the base Marvel comics which we all grew up with. This is another part of the multiverse.
Well, this is what basically started. This version of the Avengers is what basically turned the modern comics into what they are now, because even the costumes are loosely based, or if not directly based, off the film's versions. And so on and so forth.
The only real one that hasn't changed is Iron Man, and I think that's because we whipped out the 3 Iron Man films quite quickly. They were out quite quick. And when you think about any of the other films, Iron Man 1 and 2 were both out before Avengers.
Yeah.
And 3 came shortly after the first Avengers.
Yeah.
So, but Captain Marvel, we'll address the elephant in the room. She was told that she'll be the be-all and end-all. She is the most powerful Avenger in this universe. She still gets her ass handed to her by Thanos.
Which is good, because
and she wasn't the be-all and end-all to beat Thanos.
No, because
she actually spent very little time in the film.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the point. Obviously, they touched upon it at the very start of the film with how unstrung, if you like, Marvel is versus Thanos, because she went down to scout the planet. There's no armies, there's nothing there. They obviously all go and kill Thanos at breakfast. Do you know what I mean? But realistically, it's still not her that does the real damage. It's Thor. Realistically, in the Infinity War film, the only one to really affect Thanos, and I'm not talking about Thor at the end with Stormbreaker, was Tony and his technology.
Yeah.
He was able to make the god bleed. And that for me is very much the Spartans versus the Persians. They didn't set out to kill the god, they set out to make him bleed, to make the men be demoralized. Obviously we don't get the demoralized Thanos due to the fact that, that happens. But we see that Marvel isn't the be all and end all right at the start of the film, and I think we needed to see that. And then obviously we see at the end of the film, she comes, she destroys Thanos' ship, but she still...
And we both agreed that when we saw that, we were like, right, here comes the end.
I was like, right, here comes Marvel.
She's going to come in, kick his ass.
Yeah. And obviously we did see a little bit where we actually thought, shit, she's gotten angry, she's holding him up, he headbutts her, she's just looking at him like, yeah, that's not going to fucking work.
And then he takes the Power Stone and buff.
And it's just that hit a home run moment where she's just gone, mate. You're not seeing her for the rest of the battle, and you don't. And I think that's the point. And it ends up being, what was foretold. It's Tony. It's up to Tony to save the universe, because he doesn't go for brawn, he goes for brains, and he uses his brains to steal the stones and not the gauntlet. And any other hero would have gone for the gauntlet.
Well, they all did.
Yeah.
Tony is the only... Tony really, even when they were fighting Thanos on the other planet with Strange and Spidey and all the rest of them, he didn't really play the fight role. Spider-Man was the guy trying to get the gauntlet off. Tony was there doing the restricting. He never really fought Thanos because he was out of commission anyway. And then he fights Thanos at last. And he wins.
Yeah.
He does, because he gets the stones.
He takes the stones, and like he says,
Which, agreed.
am Iron Man.
Yeah.
Click.
Without that click, yes. The rest of the Avengers probably have killed Thanos in a traditional way? Yes.
Eventually, what would have ended up having to happen is that what you would have seen is Marvel would have, after being whipped with the Power Stone, would have probably stayed clear of Thanos for a little bit. She would have taken out a huge percent of his army. I think that the rest of the Avengers would have also focused on the army until eventually it would have been Thanos and his lieutenants.
Yeah.
And then it would have been literally the entirety of what's left of the universe versus just Thanos and his lieutenants. And eventually they would have won.
Yeah.
But
without the power gauntlet and all 6 Infinity Stones, can Thanos be beaten by Captain Marvel? Probably. Probably.
Yeah, but...
Because the only reason I'm saying is because of the headbutt not touching her.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't using the gauntlet.
But realistically, the only hero that actually caused him any real fucking worry was Scarlet.
Now, could Scarlet Witch again have done it without the gauntlet? Yeah. I think that if they'd worked
Scarlet Witch was going to kill him without the gauntlet there and then. It was only because he was just
the coward's tactic of I'm going to kill my own
I'll kill everybody.
Yeah.
If it means I'll survive. And for me, that to me should have woken up a lot of Thanos' lieutenants to go, well, hold on a minute. Like, one of them said, but our soldiers, sire. He's like, I don't care. Rain fire. Like, stop me from dying and kill everybody. I'm not bothered.
Yeah. No, he...
Obviously, we get that typical scene of all of the Avengers lying on the floor, protecting their heads, crying like babies because they're all about to die from cannon fire. And then, obviously, that is when we see Marvel enter, and then we're like, okay, it's the end.
Yeah.
But it was just so good to see that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
then it was Tony's.
It was Tony's click, and it was Tony saying, and I am Iron Man. Click. Goodbye, Thanos. Goodbye, all of his armies. I agree with you. I don't think it was necessarily the absolute right call to wipe Thanos from existence. However, I understand why they've gone down that route because I think they want to end this 22 film saga.
I mean,
about Thanos. Because all the way from Iron Man 1, it's about Thanos. All the way back from there. Because the Tesseract is almost, I think the Tesseract is mentioned somewhere in Iron Man 1. And that is our first glimpse of what is to come. And the Infinity Stone storyline has always been about Thanos and the Gauntlet.
I mean, you think, right, we are at the stage, we have lost, so you think about who we've actually lost through Infinity War and Endgame. Okay. Loki, gone. Dead. As far as we're aware.
But he's not, no, is he? Because he steals the fucking Tesseract and fucking disappears.
That Loki does.
Yes, we know that the evolved, more humble Loki that is willing to work with Thor.
I'm on about what we're calling the 2018 Avengers.
Yes, the
okay?
2018 Avengers.
So we lost Loki, right?
We lost Loki.
We
lost Vision.
We then lost Vision. We then lost... I'm not including Gamora, guys, because the ending leads you to believe that she might still be alive.
But 2018 Gamora is dead.
Yeah.
2014 Gamora is alive. Which is the same as what we're going on about the 2014 Loki.
Yeah. So anyway, 2014, we lost 2018 Gamora, lost... Then we started... Then we lost Widow.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, technically, no. Then we lost Thanos.
Yeah.
They killed 2018 Thanos. Hands down, the Avengers killed Thanos.
Yeah.
I will not dispute
in a pussy move, but
they beat him. So, then we lost 2018 Thanos. Then we lost Widow. We kind of lost Hulk and Banner and got Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk is more Banner than Hulk. Yeah. He might look like the Hulk, and he's got the strength of the Hulk, but it's still Banner. He talks like Banner.
Which, on a personal note, that was one of my grievances with the film. I've never been a Professor Hulk fan, but I get it. Lots of other people love Professor Hulk. I agree.
If they hadn't gone with Professor Hulk, the whole time travel thing would have fell to bits.
Yeah, no, completely agree.
And the Infinity Gauntlet wearing would have definitely gone to bits because there is absolutely no way that Hulk would have been able to click his fingers and know what the fuck he was thinking about. He'd have clicked his fingers, everything would have been wiped out, or everything would have been turned into fucking Hulks.
And then you'd have just had Hulk. That's it, just Hulk in the vacuum.
Yeah, and then it would have just ended. Hulk is strongest Avenger! Like that. That's what would have ended.
Boom, roll credits 10 minutes into the fucking film.
Yeah.
But, no, I get it. I just don't like him. That's my thing. So yeah, anyway.
The Gauntlet, one thing I don't like about the Gauntlet is it's Iron Man built Gauntlet.
Yeah.
But they made this whole big thing that it needed to be made out of this special metal and everything from... So unless they smelted down the original Gauntlet, which they can't do without going to Peter Dinklage's, planet to use the heart of the core of the planet to hit... It doesn't make sense, right? They can't tell you that the only thing that can wield the Infinity Gauntlet was this one happened by chance gauntlet that Peter Dinklage happened to made with all this magical and mystical metal, because when they're in the factory where the Infinity Gauntlet was made, there are several gauntlets lying around, and obviously none of them worked because only one of them was used.
I'll agree.
So that is my only real sort of, how the fuck did they fix that problem?
I'll agree with that, and I'm going to touch on magic near in a bit. But yeah, so we lost Hulk effectively. We lost Widow. And then at the end we lose Cap.
Yeah.
We lose Iron Man.
We lose Cap.
And no, he's not dead, but I'm sorry, mate. He ain't those boxing granddads you see on the fucking YouTubes.
Cap's died. 2018 Cap died when he went back in time, and then came back as an old man.
And he lived.
And
he
went
his life, and he was happy.
He lived with Peggy. And so we were led to believe.
Yeah, can't see why not. No. And he lived a
happy.
Well,
it makes perfect sense. But if it does, then am I not wrong in remembering that Captain America kisses Peggy Carter's daughter?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Cap went back in time and married Peggy.
Yeah.
That's Captain America's daughter.
Yeah.
Cap kissed his own daughter.
No, he didn't. Because what he's done by living back through time is created that parallel universe they were talking about. With, you know, when Hulk was talking about Banner, right? So he goes back in time, right? In his first run through the timeline, Peggy marries somebody else.
Right.
And has that daughter. Or at least has sex with somebody else. I can't remember if they married exactly. But that's somebody else's daughter. Unless he always was going to do this, in which case...
Bucky knew. Bucky fucking knew.
Yeah, Bucky knew.
Bucky said, I'm going to miss you. There is no way that he would say to someone, I'm going to miss you, if he thought they were coming back in 5 seconds.
Bucky's not an idiot. Bucky knows
Bucky knew he was going to stay.
But he knew Cap all along. He knew Cap from the fucking day one.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, but if Bucky knew... That leads me to believe that Bucky always knew that Steve was going to go back in the past, which would mean that it isn't an alternate tangent, it's the exact tangent, which still leads me to the question of incest.
Either way, he either kissed his own daughter or he didn't, but if that is the true timeline, where Cap goes back and has the daughter and blah, 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 he's also smart enough to know, don't get involved. It's fine. It all works out.
Yeah, but that was it. That's what they're saying. The only way that the timeline would be able to be this timeline and be stable is if Cap never ran into himself. But he would be thinking, well, all right, so this is when the aliens attack New York. I'm not worried.
Thing is,
why would he be worried? He's lived through it once. He knows who's going to save the day. He knows he's going to arrive with the Avengers and the day is going to be saved. So he knows that the job is in the safest of hands.
Thing is, even if he did see himself, it wouldn't matter.
No.
Because he goes back, by the time he is revived in the ice, so while he's in the ice, he's fine, right? He knows that by the time he gets out of the ice, he knows exactly. Because he's not... That's the thing. Cap's, when he took the injection thing, he didn't just get stronger, he got smarter, his whole body was amplified, including his intelligence. So he's got a really good memory. So he knows more or less where he's going to be. And even if he runs into himself, say it's fucking Starbucks, he's old enough that a young Cap is just going to look at him and turn his head and carry on walking like, hi, random old guy, and walk off. You're not, that's the thing. So yeah, so we've lost. The only original Avengers we've got left are Hulk and Hawkeye. Hawkeye is fully retired, done. I think, that we can safely put him away in the closet with his wife and kids.
Thor's alive.
Thor has gone off.
I know Thor's gone off with the Guardians, but he is an original Avenger.
You were right. Yeah. I fucked up that. I apologise.
I was just thinking, hold on, wait a minute. There's another Avenger
Thor
somewhere.
has gone off with the Guardians, and we've got Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
I've told you about Professor Hulk. That was my one grievance. I'm going to go with my other grievance now.
Fat Thor. But for me, I think you say it's comedy for comedy's sake.
I think it was comedy for comedy's sake, and now I
personally believe that they did it to show you that even gods can suffer depression. Even they can feel like failures and like they're not good enough, and they can suffer from drinking problems. They can suffer from, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-image. But what doesn't help Fat Thor, for me, is the fact that when he decides it's time to fight Thanos
and puts his
armor on, his six-pack comes back. He's built like a brick shithouse. And then when that's back off again, and he's getting back onto the Guardian ship, he's still got the beer belly again.
So either that armour is the mother of all girdles.
Yeah, which would also mean that for most of the battle, Thor had a really hard time breathing, right? Or the magic of Mjolnir and his his suit allows him to replicate the best version of his strength for his age. Because as we know, he isn't his strongest point yet. His strongest point is not for another few hundred years when he is Odin's age. Because of Guardian as Asgardians getting older, they're stronger as they're older.
Nearly at their strongest. Not long, but basically they go up a massive, long, steep incline, and then they're at their peak, and then in a few days they're dead.
Yeah. So basically, when Odin died, about a week before,
probably right when he, literally 2 minutes before Loki turned up and fucked him off to the Earth old age pensioner
about a week
zone.
or 2 weeks before that or whatnot. He was at his, right, I could
He could have walked up to Thanos, flicked him on the nose,
exactly.
and Thanos' skull would have caved in.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to something people said. Thanos had all this time. He could have gone for the Infinity Stones multiple times. It was no secret where most of them were, other than the Soul Stone.
Yeah, which the only person that knew that was Gamora.
Yeah. So, why did he go when he did? Well, there was no more Odin, who could have probably kicked his ass multiple times. There was no more Master.
No.
Because she died. And she is technically stronger than Strange.
At the minute.
And, but...
Strange is technically still in training.
Yeah, she was better because she'd had a lot longer than he ever will, because he will die. He will accept his own death.
Yeah. She made a deal with the demon to stay alive, and he won't do that.
So she died, and so did Peter Quill's father.
Yeah.
Those three together were the three strongest beings in the universe, barring the Watchers and the One Above All.
Yeah.
When they all died, that was Thanos' opportunity.
Yeah.
There's no one currently strong enough. Go.
Yeah.
And he fucking went.
Yeah. Obviously, I think the fact that they've gone with Thor going with the Guardians, to me, should be the way of unlocking Quill. Because we know that Quill has
that's
the celestial powers, but
Marvel,
he doesn't know how to use them
in
yet.
the Marvel universe, there is very little true magic.
Yeah.
In terms of the MCU, the only true magic is the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
The magic from Scarlet Witch
comes from an Infinity Stone. Same with Vision.
The magic from Strange is manipulation of the multiverses. That's why they use the rings, because they need a manipulator. It's will. They're not harnessing any magic. They're just they're manipulating magic. They're not using magic. Yeah. And the Asgardians are not magic. It is just the universe that provided them with longer life, with the ability to control a certain, be it thunder. There's probably another one who can control the water.
Yeah. And
all the rest of it. That's who they are. It's not magic. There's very little magic in this universe.
I think the whole time travel thing in this film, I think, was done relatively well.
Yeah.
They could have. I mean, there are little things that happen throughout that you're like, well, realistically, that's just fucked up the timeline. Loki being the main one there as he escaped with the Tesseract. because obviously that would mean that unless, and I'm going to say this, we saw at the end of the Avengers film that Loki is with Thor with the guard on his mouth, and then Thor takes him back to Asgard. So it's not to say that once Loki fucked off with the Tesseract for a second time that we didn't see that the Avengers, or at least Thor, went and got it back for a second time from Loki.
They still ended up with the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Because Cap went back and they stole it from the base.
Yes. No, but I'm not on about from the time travel thing. I'm on about just purely Loki fucking off. But it's just, there was little niggles for me with the time travel because it's time travel and there's always going to be things that happen during time in anything. Doctor Who being the biggest plot hole of every episode.
But what I love is they make a point of his plot holes by fucking things up even more, and that's normally the end of the season where he's got to fix his own plot holes.
So obviously you was going to get little things. I mean, the same sort of thing as the fact that because Tony didn't want his daughter to not exist, he said everyone that was gone 5 years ago, just bring them back to now, and he did that so his daughter's life wouldn't be null and void and wouldn't have disintegrated herself, including any other children that were born in those 5 years. And that also leads to another problem. So all these people from Earth, just on Earth, the universe will have the exact same problems. Carol Danvers says that in the film. The shit that's happening on Earth is happening everywhere. Do you know?
But they haven't got you.
You're here. So you've got all these people that are just going to literally ping back up to where they were, and then they're going to bump into their wives that have now 5 years older, potentially met another person who's also, his wife has just come back with with their children. So they're saying, hopefully we've brought the world back to some sort of normality and everyone should be happy and rejoicing. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, well, hold on, you've moved on.
It's not just in that respect. It's you've got to look at we are currently right now 7 billion people on the planet. We are killing the planet because there's so many of us. 5 years, governments have plans for things like this. Plague outbreaks, shit like that, where
mass pandemics which wipe out huge percentages of the population,
and they exist. And some governments would have survived with some people, and governments would have survived. They'd have had some people left, and they'd have managed. They'd have taken over. So over that, we maybe over the 5 years we go from the 3.5 billion, maybe up to 4 billion. Let's just pretend.
Yeah.
So 4 billion people on the planet as. Right before Tony does the snap. Or right before the final big battle.
Yeah.
The planet started to heal itself. Economies sort of repaired. They're getting everything back on track. And then 3.5 billion people turn up.
Yeah. And now the planet's population's gone from 7 billion to 7.5 billion.
In a second.
Yeah. So there's a lot of
industry instantly.
The only difference is now, though, is with the fact that Earth now, I would say, has access to potential space travel.
Yeah.
That we would be able to move ourselves, even within our own solar system.
Start going to Mars and the moon.
Moving off the planet to accommodate for the fact that we're running out of supplies, moving them onto other planets. Potential terraforming technologies could evolve, because you've got to think that in this universe now, we've general contractors have had access to Chitauri technology since Avengers 1.
We saw also that the Wakandan technology is now worldwide as well.
Yeah. So we've got Wakandan technology with the vibranium. You've got Chitauri technology, which is space technology from another planet.
Well, that was the whole point of Spider-Man.
Yeah. We've got all this technology now. If anyone on that planet thinks that they're going to be staying on that planet, they're very wrong, because we are now entering this almost futuristic comic Marvel style.
But I think, again, it's futuristic to the point where it's not Star Trek, like Star
No,
Trek.
it's not every day. We've not got aliens on the planet
It's
every
not
day.
Star Trek
We're not living.
future.
We're not living on Nova.
It's
We're not living in the Nova core.
it's
But we're
realistically what we could see when we're old men.
yeah. We are taking those first leaps into, you know, the universe's community, and that is the point. We're starting that. I think that's what we're going to start seeing. Wakanda technology, as we already know, is 500
Well, I mean,
to
that
1,000 years more
I
advanced
think,
than ours.
I think the Wakandan technology is effectively the nod of Atlantis in terms of they were this super intelligent future tech race at the time,
hidden away for their own good and protection.
And I think that's the same thing. The Wakandans are just the
That's what everyone said about Aquaman. Aquaman is the poor man's panther.
Yeah,
basically.
So
in terms of film,
and that's where that's where we're at. We're at this very strange point of. I mean, the one thing that also gets me is we know for a fact, and this was from Infinity War, that some people their babies just disappeared. Can you imagine? Right, you're sat in Starbucks. You lost your newborn. Well, just hang on. You lost your newborn baby 5 years ago. You're just sat there drinking a latte. And then boom! Baby.
No, because that wouldn't happen. Because if you remember, everyone came back to the exact spot where they evaporated. The exact spot. So you're out at Starbucks having a coffee, right? And all of a sudden, half of Starbucks just ping is full of people, and you're like, oh my god, everyone's back. Shit, my baby was 4 foot in the air in my arms. I'm not going to get home. I'm going to come home to a dead baby on the floor.
There will be several splattered babies. Like, I think we can, or several mothers who will reappear like cradling a baby, like, where's my baby?
Yeah.
But then that baby died 5 years ago because you disappeared into nothingness, and that baby went splat on the fucking floor. You'll look for your husband, and he'll be under a bridge with a fucking
rocking back and forth.
Bottle of Tenant Super.
This is what I'm saying.
It's not just the social economic.
It's the whole planet is going to suffer from. The whole universe is going to suffer realistically from PTSD for at least the next 50 years. At least, because you've got to get rid of pretty much the whole of, the next 5 generations or so. If you go with the theory that there's a new generation every decade or so, they've got to get rid of 5 generations to remove that scarring of what's happened to the universe.
I mean, yeah, all right, they've got the advantage. Like you said, you've got the Chitauri, the Wakandan technology. You will have Stark, and
Stark technology is still going to exist because Pepper Potts still runs Stark Industries.
And Stark Industries would have still existed through the 5 years.
Yeah.
Even if Pepper wasn't running it,
yeah,
someone else would have. You had
Tony still had money.
There was the other guy as well. The guy Tony didn't like, Hammer.
Yeah,
like at the end of the day,
Hammer technology. Although in
not,
a lot of the comic books, Hammer Technologies, and there's another one as well.
Yeah,
what's the other big contractor in there? There's Hammer and there's another one.
Yeah, there is. I can't remember.
But obviously, their technologies would have still been going. Oscorp.
Oscorp. Yeah, there's
so obviously in the comics, you also end up with Norman Osborn taking over Hammer Technologies as well. So
yeah, but there are
Is it Arms?
That might be art, but either way, you have these ultimate companies that are going to help, and in terms of the economy, they're probably going to be able to help with that. But like you say, it's the PTSD that's going to.
There's going to be a lot of emotion.
At least in the short term, it's going to affect a lot of people.
The only thing we can think of is that being Marvel, is that if there was a mother who evaporated, the baby evaporated with them, and there are no splattered babies.
I mean, that's what I will. Not Marvel. I will assume that will be a Disney input.
Yeah,
because
at
Disney
the same time, you can't imagine, like, if you're sat on a plane and the pilot evaporates.
Well, that's the thing. We saw planes fall from the sky.
Yeah, so
there are a lot of people are still dead. And that pilot, like, what is he? What's going to happen? Is he gonna? Because when he disappeared, he will have been 50 feet, and even.
The only thing I can imagine is that everyone basically
who died in the air will
be on the ground.
Yeah,
because of where their body or their ash would have ended up.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think.
This is the problem with time travel. This is the problem with Infinity Gauntlet snaps. There is a hell of a lot more going
like
on.
You said, these pilots that disappeared in midair, and people on these planes who disappeared in midair.
Where did they come back?
Did they just rain? Did bodies just fall?
Yeah.
Yeah, because at any time, I think I read somewhere there are a few million people in the air. A good, say even half of those disappeared.
Yeah.
Are a few million people just gonna fall from the fucking sky? Cause shit me, if I was like walking down the street with fucking Starbucks in my hand, thinking 5 years ago, sucked, and I heard there's this battle going on the news and what's going on now, and then all of a sudden some random fucker in a pilot uniform just splattered on the floor in front of me, or a baby materialised in front of me and fell to the floor. I'd shit my pants.
That's the problem, you see. That's the issue with they're the real.
If it happened in real life, they are the implications.
They are the real implications. You know what I mean? And obviously, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions like where's Gamora? Because we saw Gamora was fighting with the Avengers.
2014 Gamora.
2014 Gamora, that is. But then she's not at Tony Stark's funeral, which makes sense to me because she doesn't know Tony Stark. She has no care for Tony Stark. Tony Stark has effectively just wiped out her father. But then she's not on the ship either.
Yeah.
We didn't see her.
No. So then did that Gamora go back to 2014? Or did... And then if she did, that raises the question of, well, then why are they looking for the 2018 Gamora? Because she's dead, but... Is she not? Because
Thanos never really existed, so then the snap... That's another thing. They killed 2014... This is what I was saying to Lisa. If you kill the past, then that would change the future. 2014 Thanos came to
2018.
No, because it's 5 years after 2018, 2022.
Yeah.
Right, so...
But we're calling it 2018 for our own brain, I think.
Right.
Let's not throw in 2022.
So 2014 Thanos came to the present after he'd done the snap, which can't have happened because they killed him.
No, 2014 Thanos came before he made the snap.
No, he didn't. He came after the snap because they brought all of the people.
I'm with you.
After his own snap.
Yeah, but before he made it, because they were still looking for the Infinity Stones at that point, because the Thanos they brought back was the Thanos before the Guardians were even formed.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
God, Lord, we're confusing ourselves.
This is what I'm saying. So the Thanos they killed would mean, right, if you was to do it proper time travel rules, they've killed... He's come to the future. If the past comes to the future and you kill the past, then the future changes because they could never have gotten to the point in the first place of doing the thing that would have made them want to come to the future. So they've killed Thanos, and Thanos, all of his armies are wiped out. How does Nebula exist?
Yeah.
Nebula would have existed, but she would have also been. She was also, as we saw, shot through the heart. Right,
but you're too late.
Right, so the minute she shot herself, that gun should have then dropped to the floor, and she should have evaporated because she technically couldn't exist anymore because she killed herself. Right, that's a paradox in itself because she would never have been alive in the first place to kill her. Do you understand? It'd be a horrible time loop, right? So then they kill old Thanos, which would mean the snap could never have happened in the first place to lead them to want to go back in time for them to then get future Gamora's memories, to be able to know about where the Infinity Stones are, to then go back into the future to get the gauntlet in the first place.
It's that horrible loop. Yeah.
It
is that
the
thing
time
of
travel.
You can change shit, but you can't change shit, but you can change shit, but you can't.
Realistically, although the final battle for me is the best part of Marvel Universe history, for many reasons, from all the way from Cap picking up Mjolnir to the very end, they paradoxed it. By bringing past Thanos to the future and wiping him out, they've paradoxed their own universe. They've poisoned the well.
The only thing in the scenario you're talking about I can think, where it doesn't create a paradox, is we go with the Dragon Ball Z time travel. Which is... So Trunks travels into the future in Dragon Ball Z to stop the androids. So he can get a cure... So he can give Goku a cure to stop the androids and his future will never happen. When he goes back into the future, his future hasn't changed. So that's the only thing I can think of that the futures still happen because they're meant to. Like, the universe, this is what's meant to happen. So it doesn't create the paradox because each future is independent of itself.
Yeah.
Are you with me? So
I am.
Right,
but,
so hear me out. So in the past, they take the time stones, the Infinity Stones from... That Thanos won't happen and they will never have that big battle. Are you with me?
Yeah, but they will, because they had to put the stones back exactly where they found them at the exact same time that they took them.
They killed the Thanos where they got the Soul Stone, the timeline where they got the Soul Stone and the other one from.
Right.
Will not happen because that's the Thanos that's dead. But the Thanos from when they got the Tesseract and the other two will happen. Are you with me?
Yeah, but it's basically like they're on a they did end up making a tangent, but they made a good
It's the tangent that was meant to happen, yeah. It's.
This is why time travel in any film can open so many fucking plot holes.
Yeah.
Like I say, basically what they did is they paradoxed the end of Endgame. And whether it was supposed a paradox that was meant to happen or not, it's paradoxed.
Yeah. And one thing I love that going out of the universe into reality a bit is it was said from the start that the only people who knew the true script were the Russo brothers, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and a handful of Disney and Marvel executives.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who knew the true script. I fucking know why. There was barely a scene that didn't have either Chris Evans or Robert Downey fucking Jr. in it. They were in almost... Like, other characters had their own scenes and scenes where they were with other people who weren't Chris and Robert.
But I think that's
they
because
were almost glued at the hip.
Yeah, but they are realistically the first two Avengers.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if you want to
Cap is the first Avenger. We know that because that's the title he was given, the first Avenger. Downey Jr. is the first superhero
and the first recruited Avenger.
Yeah. But obviously he was also the Kickstarter of the universe, of the cinematic
and before
universe.
Anyone says, what about Captain Marvel? She's never been made an Avenger, arguably until
Cap said to the entire universe that turned up to fight, Avengers, assemble.
You could maybe argue when she turns up at the beginning that she was an Avenger then, maybe. But yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, right, talking about that, one, how did she know where Tony Stark and Nebula were? Right? Because their ship is a powered down wreck in the middle of nowhere. And I don't mean nowhere the place. I mean literally nowhere. Right? Marvel hasn't been to Earth by this point. All she's had is the buzzer. And you know this because when she arrives on Earth with Stark, they don't know who she is.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So why would she find Tony in the first place? Is it just by happenstance that she just happened to be flying through space and find them?
I think that I agree. I think it is. I think it's the same as Thor was fat for fat's sake. I think that she found Tony and Nebula floating in space because they needed... and she just happened to be on a planet, be going to Earth, and her path crossed this ship. Maybe Tony was sending out a distress signal on another part of the armor that survived.
Yeah.
And she just happened to hear it or see it or maybe notice life in this ship that was clearly dead. Popped her head in and went, "Oh, you alright, guys?"
Yeah.
I think it was plot convenience. And I'm going to...
It's just... that is another little niggle for me. It's just... she doesn't know the Avengers. The only thing she's had so far is a beeper message from Fury going, "We need you." Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And in terms of, I think the Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 were comedic films. They had action, but they were action comedy films, right?
Guardians are a comedy type.
And I think Thor has joined them because in Thor, the first one, it was a very serious
He's
film.
very serious. Thor 2
it was
stayed
a
on
bit
the
more
serious.
comedy.
Yeah, but it still
but
stayed
there was
on the
more comedy. By Thor Ragnarok, it was funny.
Yeah.
And they've because of the evolution of what they've done to Thor, which I don't like. I don't like that they've turned him into a comedic character. My personal opinion, whatever yours is, whatever. They've now joined him with the comedic group.
I think what we've supposed to have seen is that Thor to begin with was very much I am Odin's son, I am God, I am this, I am this, I am this. And
are you Thor, God of Hammers?
Thor, yeah, but Thor 1, obviously, you know,
he's got to prove himself.
He has to prove himself. Thor 2, you know, he's trying to save the universe and, you know, be what, like you said, what he's supposed to be. And what he's supposed to be is the serious, I am Odin's son, I am an Asgardian, I will protect the universe type person. But by Thor Ragnarok, he's lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Daddy's dead.
Daddy's dead. Mjolnir's gone. Banner wants to kill him. You know, he's lost everything. He's lost. He can't get back to Earth because, as far as he's concerned, Heimdall's gone. There's no Bifrost. There's no. He is by himself, and I think that at that point something just sort of clicked in Thor. Just went, well, I don't have to be what I'm supposed to be anymore. I can be who I want to be, and what I want to be is Thor. I just want to be a bloke who goes around eating a few things, telling a few jokes, and being a general dude.
One thing regarding Thor I liked is he tries to tell his mum that she's gonna die, but I think that she has a thing. She's got an ability that I would say is similar to when Strange used the Time Stone to see 14 million universes. I think she can see all that, and that she knew that her son from the future would come see her.
I think she knew from the way he looked at her.
I think she just knew. I think she already knew.
But I think when he looked at her, she saw that this Thor, because she said straight away, "You're not my Thor. You're not my Thor."
Yeah.
But she went from what he looked at her like was like, "I haven't seen you in years. You've been gone. Like, not like I haven't seen you because I haven't got round to coming round to see you. I haven't seen you because you're gone." And I think from the hug and the tears, I think she sort of realised.
I think she already knew because she's still, you know, she has her own power.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I think hers is sort of sight. And I think we've touched on most things. You know, you see lots of different aliens that perhaps we haven't seen since either Guardians 1 or Guardians 2.
There's a little nod to tell you that Howard the Duck survived Nowhere being obliterated by Thanos in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because he is in the final battle with the Nova Corps.
Yeah. And every other motherfucker on the planet.
That was another thing. It wasn't just that they got the Wakandan armies back. It was the fact that Strange had basically almost sort of contacted every sorcerer in the universe and gone, right, you need to get everybody that wants to fight.
Yeah.
Here to Earth.
And I think that's kind of what he did, yeah.
And like you said, is this everybody? And
you wanted more?
You wanted more? Like, yeah, I wanted more. Like, I don't think this is enough yet. It turns out it was enough. Well, it wasn't going to be enough. It was enough to get to the point where,
like we discussed earlier, that it would have been enough with all that you would have ended up with probably the core Avengers team, a couple of others, and then
Thanos and his
lieutenants, like you said earlier, and then would have been bloody blue.
But I think,
and when I say the core Avengers, I'm effectively referring to everyone we saw in Civil War.
Yes.
Plus the Guardians.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're leading up now that Ant-Man and the Wasp are potentially going to be.
I think they will.
More involved in the Avengers type, which would make a lot of sense because realistically, Ant-Man and Iron Man in the comics were very similar in terms of brain power.
Well, yeah, because the Ant-Man in this isn't the traditional Ant-Man. The traditional Ant-Man is Hank Pym.
Yeah.
The dad, and it is him and Tony intelligence butting. So,
but there is.
There's another one, Pym Industries.
Yeah, but there is, in some of the, cartoon universes and in some of the comics, Scott Lang is supposed to be. The longer he is Ant-Man, the more intelligent he became, due to the fact that he's able to understand things by going, through quantum universes, and he picked up a lot of knowledge. So you've got this thing that Ant-Man could potentially, because we all saw that the suits that they all went to the quantum universe in, they were all wearing Ant-Man helmets.
Except for War Machine. Did you notice that?
Except for War Machine. So that, to me, leads you to believe that, maybe Ant-Man is going to become the Iron Man type figure. He is going to become the suit designer. He's not going to pay for everything, but he is going to design everything to make everyone look better.
That's because we know Cap and Widow and Hawkeye, you could argue they were training. Bruce and Tony were working on the machine. I do wonder if Scott was sat there with the sewing machine.
Scott was the one making the suit. Scott was the one designing the helmets, and And what you're going to see is, because we've already seen that in terms of intelligence, the most intelligent person on the planet is Panther's sister.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because she just turned out, like with Vision, when they went, because obviously Vision was created, like the AI for Vision was created by Banner and Stark, and even she was just like, why didn't you just do it this way? Like, we didn't even think of that. Like, because she is supposed to be that intelligent. So, and we also know that she can design suits better than anyone, because Iron Man can create a suit, but he can't create a suit that can absorb kinetic energy and then like explode it out.
Except that's kind of what the suit he's wearing at the end where he absorbs Thor's lightning and shoots it out. I think that's based on her design.
It's very possible, but I also think that it's more about the fact that we saw all the way from Iron Man in the Avengers Assemble with the Mark 7, is he in that film? Something or the Mark 6? Thor shoots him with electricity and it charges up the arc reactor to 400%.
I think...
So I think what he did is he opened up his back to open up a direct channel. Like, it's something he's been working on to absorb Thor's hammer, like to absorb the power of Mjolnir, to boost the arc reactor safely without destroying the suit, to be able to fire, because obviously every single cannon on his body fired at once. Like, even his chest went, and what normally we've seen that chest
in Iron Man 2, that's the whole point. He only has it once.
Yeah, he only has it once, and that's thing. If he can harness the power of Mjolnir through his suit to shoot out that chest cannon on a more permanent basis, maybe he designed that suit with the nanomachines to do so.
But it wouldn't surprise me if part of the way he did it was based on what she did with the Panther suits. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see her being the suit guy, and Professor Hulk being we've had this in from S.H.I.E.L.D., you guys need to go off and deal with it.
It would be it is a shame, and it will be a shame to see Professor Hulk go down that path, because he is still, the strongest Avenger.
Like I say, I think he's going to take on that advisory daddy. Effectively, did you see?
Technically, Cap could.
Technically,
Old Cap. We already know that there is no one better at strategy than Captain America.
Completely agree.
And Cap is now at that age where he is at the perfect
I just thought about it.
General age. He's no longer Captain. He's General America, and he is basically.
Did you see the Young Avengers movie where it was like the kids of their children, and Tony was the only one? They basically did a movie where, and Tony effectively is like looking after them.
Basically Bruce Wayne in Batman and Beyond. Not on Beyond. Yeah, Batman Beyond.
Yeah. And I wonder if maybe they're going to do that with Professor Hulk. Have him, Hulk, go look after the kids.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I think that's where they might take Professor Hulk. But do we really have anything else we can say other than it was a brilliant film and, it had the beating their Thanos, getting the Infinity Stones, and then the big fight?
I mean, the whole film, start to finish, for me, was fantastic. I can understand why critics have called it perfection, because for me it is perfection in Marvel in Marvel
like
cinematic
I say, personally,
films.
the only two things I wouldn't have done, I've said it, no fat thought, and I don't like Professor Hulk.
Yeah,
but that's just me. They're the things I'd have changed.
Yeah.
Would someone else might have changed? I know loads of people have been whinging the fuck about the fact they were the female Avengers. No one cares. Go away, you pathetic piece of shit.
Yeah, but the female Avengers were showing you that the women of the Marvel Universe are some of the strongest
they're just
heroes.
as good as your original 6 Avengers.
For me, when I saw Pepper Potts finally as Rescue, I was just like, oh my god, this is fantastic. Yeah. Finally, Pepper is realising, because Pepper sort of realised in Iron Man 3
when she shot with the gauntlet
that she has the sort of potential, and obviously she became almost superpowered as well. She was superpowered by the end of the film. So we've already seen her transitioning into this hero type figure. We could be completely wrong, and Pepper Potts could be the next Iron Man.
She could. Like, I have no thing. Like I said, I think we're going to end up with 2 Avengers. We're going to end up with Spidey's Young Avengers and Falcon's Avengers.
Well, Spidey's Young Avengers, although they will be called the Young Avengers, will basically be the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. But that's my opinion. That's what we're going to end up
and
with.
You'll have the new Avengers, which, like I say, could end up being run by Ant-Man, and you'll have Panther and Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man, Strange, maybe, and like you said, perhaps even Pepper. There's no reason why she can leave that kid with Happy.
Yeah,
Happy loves kids.
Yeah, but we also know that this kid is also basically Tony's mini replica. She is fucking intelligent.
And then we put the kid from Iron Man 3 in with Spidey's Young Avengers.
Yeah, but I want about his daughter. We already know that she's really smart. She's very much like Tony.
But I don't think we're going to see her. She's only 5.
Yeah, but I'm saying that we're already potentially seeing the next generation after the new generation of Avengers.
So when Spider-Man, the kid from Iron Man 3...
eventually become the new Avengers. The Young Avengers will be like Tony Stark's daughter.
I could believe Hawkeye's daughter being in the Young Avengers.
Yes, because
like
he did say Hawkeye too. He called her Hawkeye, and we already know Hawkeye is no longer Hawkeye. Is the Ronin because of the loss that he suffered and the fact that now he is definitely retired.
Yeah, he ain't going back for that shit. I don't think he could. I think the only way he could would be it for 2 reasons. 1, it will guarantee Black Widow coming back.
Yes.
2, he is the last lot. He's that guy who you let him be in retirement, you leave him alone, but this is it. You know, all the new Avengers, all the Young Avengers are dead. It's you and your family. Grab a bow and get shooting. Yeah. That's the only
But this
two
is the
options.
point. This is why his family have always been kept off the records.
Yeah.
And no one knows where they are, apart from, obviously, the core Avengers know whereabouts they live now.
Yeah, but before that, it was him and Nick.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm Widow. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think that's about all we can say, guys.
Basically,
go see it.
If you've not seen it
and you've listened to the spoilers,
then go and watch it, because the spoilers that we've given don't do the film justice at all. It is a piece of cinematic perfection. It's got everything, as we've already said. You're gonna be sat laughing, crying, shouting at the screen. And it's an amazing journey to go on. And then what I would suggest you do is once the 22 film box set comes out, I would heavily recommend getting it. And then I would watch the films in chronological order, not release order.
So you start with Cap the First Avenger, then go for Captain Marvel, and so on and so forth.
On and so forth. I mean, if someone is out there and they want to be I don't know, mad, and I mean mad because you're talking.
Are you on about like where you'd watch Ant-Man?
I'm saying
Ant-Man and the Wasp up until the end, and then you'd watch Avengers: Infinity War. Then you'd watch the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm saying if someone wants to literally take all 22 films and turn it into one week and a half film, because that's how long it will take you to watch these films from start to finish.
Edit them all together,
including the hidden scenes, right, in the credits. It would be amazing because you would end up with like seeing the snippet of Peter Quill getting taken just as Captain Marvel is being found out, and it would be amazing to. I would sit and watch it. You wouldn't be able to watch it in one go. You would have to pause and then remember where you were and come back to it. But you could literally watch the 22 film saga in chronological order properly if it was edited together well. It would have to be edited together well, but we already know that
there are people on the internet mad enough to do this.
And we also know that Marvel have been very helpful by giving us years and pretty much specific dates onto when everything happened to make it so you could do this.
You know what you could even do if you were really mad? Right. Have picture in picture. So, when you're watching on the main screen, you've got Avengers Assemble, right? The first. What you've also got, though, is in a little box in the corner is what's going on in Endgame.
Yeah.
In the pack.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah, like split screen it.
Yeah.
So you've got the Avengers fighting in New York, and then you've got the older Avengers trying to get the Tesseract.
And then, and all that kind of... You could go mad with this.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, now they've thrown in time travel, you can go mad.
Yeah. You can literally show it... Look, even to the point that you could create your own flashback scenes.
Yeah.
So like when Cap picks up Mjolnir, right, and then Thor goes, "I knew it." Just before the kick, you would then cut to the part where they're in the party doing the lifting the hammer, and Cap moves the hammer.
And you know there are people on the internet mad enough to do this.
Definitely, we're not those people. We're mad enough to give you the idea. We're not mad enough to sit and edit the films together. Basically,
I think we're done, aren't we?
Endgame is, for me, the best culmination of an 11-year, 22-film journey. I think that if you haven't seen it, you need to see it, and if you've already seen it, you need to see it again. Especially if you haven't seen the Howard the Duck cameo, it is worth just rewatching the whole film just for that one split-second cameo.
Just Google a picture.
No, watch the film again. I'm almost guaranteeing you now that we are going to see the Infinity Saga 22 film box set that will probably have, my guess, something like 50 discs. Because if you go with 2 discs per film, or maybe up to 50 discs, 2 discs per, like 45, 2 discs per film, and then 1 bonus disc that is just literally a documentary on the whole 22 film saga.
I mean, I think we can guarantee that all the films will be there. All the films they will be there at full extended cuts.
Yeah.
They will all have the option of the director commentary or something on them. It wouldn't shock me at all if they didn't include the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. Because that is still part of the cinematic universe.
I think what they'd probably do is they'd more than likely do the films as a box set, because obviously the films interlink very well. I think if they were to do the TV series as well into that, I think it'd go to the point where most people potentially it'd be outpricing them. Do you know what I mean? I think they can go with the 22 film saga, charge £60, and people are going to buy it.
I think it's going to be more than that. I'm going to guess around the £100 mark, if you want the honest truth.
I think if we're going to the £100 mark, they better include some sort of Infinity Gauntlet.
I guess we'll wait and see. But so we're going to wrap this up, guys. Brilliant film. Go watch it.
Yeah, go and watch it. It's double the length of this podcast. So
if you've managed this,
you can definitely manage.
Go back.
Yeah.
Restart this podcast. Listen to it all again. and use this as training to watch Endgame.
Endgame, yeah, it's definitely worth going to watch again. I can't wait for it to come out so I can buy it.
And now we've just got to look forward to Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Now we've just got to see just how the universe
is Homecoming prequel or sequel. I think.
I think to begin with, I wanted it to be prequel, so that Endgame would literally be the end. But I think with the fact that we've seen him go back to school and his friends are still at school and they're the same ages, I think that this is going to be sequel. Will be the start of Phase 4. Will be the point where we see. Possibly it's a year.
Re-recruiting the Avengers.
Maybe it's a year. Maybe it's 2 years later. We don't know. But I'd imagine probably 6 months to a year later than the events of Endgame. The universe is starting to get back to normal. I think
by the time we see him at school, I think it's already been a few months.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I think we're looking at Homecoming to be now. Well, I think we both said it was going to potentially be a sequel, but a prequel. But
no, you said prequel. I went with I want it a sequel.
But I think it is now going to be that sequel to move the universe forward.
A prequel,
to move the universe forward to show what's happened post Iron Man click, and moving.
We've seen Nick does appear. I think it could, because that's how Iron Man started at the end. Nick walked in and went, I want to talk to you.
We also know that in the comics, Nick Fury also did recruit Spider-Man in the first place to be a part of the new Avengers anyway. So I think that's the route we're going to go down. Obviously, we've got a long time to wait for...
June, innit? June or July?
Yeah, in terms of what the plan is for after
Homecoming,
because... They have gone back to They've gone back to their sworn secrecy. They're not telling you anything until we've watched Homecoming.
Do I think the Disney execs, the Marvel execs, and the Russo brothers have been sat in smoky ball? I'm going 1980s here, but sat in smoky boardrooms. And do they have a rough outline of a plan for the next 10 years? Of course they do.
Yeah, I think they know what's going to happen.
Disney know what they're... Thing is, Disney aren't idiots. They know what their company's doing for the next fucking 5,000 years if they could.
I think that they know, they definitely know where they're going after Homecoming, but they don't want us to know, so they're not going to tell us anything. We're going to have to watch Homecoming to start Phase 4, just like we watched Iron Man to start Phase 1, and then there'll be the rebirth of the traditional credit cutscenes.
And I also think, and yes, we know Guardians 3 is coming, but I think the only reason we have to know that's coming is it was originally planned to be released before Endgame.
But I think we also know that Guardians is coming anyway, because there is no way that they would have put Thor on the Guardian ship for any other reason than for him to do a third film.
When they rehired James Gunn to do Guardians 3, they announced it was coming then. But I think the only reason they kept that word is because it was scheduled to be before Endgame. So I think that's why.
So I think, you need to go and watch it again. But yeah, it's a great film. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of great oh my god moments. There's a lot of great oh my god moments where you're sad, you're happy.
Yeah.
You're, and yeah, I think it is, for me, it is perfection in Avengers films. Because of the way it's been done.
Yeah.
That it does flow really well together, and it obviously is doing something right to be the second highest grossing film of all time.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to end it here, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks when the normal podcast will be back.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.